From the massive mountain ranges of the Himalayas to the sidewalks in our cities, rocks are all over the place. Though interestingly, just like the water cycle, there exists a rock cycle that determines how rocks change over time as well. Different types of rocks are formed during different stages, which explains why we have so many different rocks out there. So in this video, we will go over the three main types of rocks, the rock cycle, and why the rock cycle matters. Starting with igneous rocks, which are formed from magma underneath the Earth's crust. If the magma cools inside the Earth, intrusive igneous rocks such as granite and diorite are formed. If the magma cools after reaching the Earth's surface as lava, extrusive igneous rocks such as basalt and obsidian are formed. This means that most volcanoes and mountains are made of igneous rocks. Next, we have sedimentary rocks, which are formed from bits and pieces of other rocks, which we refer to as sediments. Over time, these sediments get compressed into solid rock, such as sandstones and chalk. Lastly, we have metamorphic rocks, which are igneous and sedimentary rocks that were transformed by the immense pressure and temperature inside the Earth. Marbles and soapstones are examples of metamorphic rocks, as those intense changes can completely alter a rock's color and texture. So now, how are those rocks connected? Starting with rocks exposed on the surface, such as extrusive igneous rocks, they eventually get weathered by natural elements, such as wind and water. This breaks down the surface rocks into sediments, which eventually gets buried deep underground. Under this pressure, a process of cementation takes place, where minerals grow in between the cracks of sediment, which bonds these small pieces together into solid sedimentary rocks. As those rocks get buried deeper and become the Earth's crust, they turn into metamorphic rocks from the high pressure and temperature. Lastly, all of these rocks melt into magma, which will cool into igneous rocks to start the cycle all over again. This means that no matter where the rocks end up, including the ones that sunk into a lake when we try to skip pebbles, they eventually end up as sediment and form into new igneous rocks thanks to the rock cycle. We went over the rock cycle within just a few minutes, but the cycle itself usually takes millions of years. It is way longer than the water cycle, but it is just as important because this cycle tells us about the rich history of Earth. For example, by looking at the layers of rock surrounding a fossil, we can figure out how dead the organism from millions of years ago ended up there. Due to the constant yet slow movement of rocks, mountains are formed for us to explore, while soil and minerals are formed for us to farm crops and extract valuable gems. We also rely on sedimentary rocks in construction, since they are sturdy yet easy to cut. So even though they take millions of years to cycle, we need different rocks at different stages. And there we have it. Igneous rocks are cooled from magma, sedimentary rocks are formed from pieces of sediments, and metamorphic rocks are formed from immense pressures and temperatures. These rocks transform through a global cycle of weathering, compressing, and melting beneath our feet over millions of years. Not only are rocks useful to us in buildings, we also rely on them as time capsules to figure out what has happened millions of years ago without a time machine. No matter what humans do to this planet, rocks will always be there to shape the environment to their will. I hope that you all have learned something interesting today. Thank you for your time, and stay hydrated.